Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Zero Analysts. This is the day 21st of our 30 days Python series. Today you will be learning Matplotlib in Python. Matplotlib is a data visualizations library in Python which you must know as a data analyst or data engineer or a data scientist. This is one of the mandatory library that you should know. So let's first go ahead and install this Matplotlib library in our workspace. So first we will go to terminal and we will first try to install this Matplotlib. Just need to write pip install matplotlib. So you just need to write pip install matplotlib and it is going to start installing it. You can see it has installed successfully. You can verify it by saying pip list and you will be able to see that matplotlib has already installed. So if in case you have already installed, you don't have to reinstall it again. So for me, you can see matplotlib is installed, right? So we will need a matplotlib and matplotlib inline to use inside our Jupyter notebook. Now let's go ahead and import this library to use it. So we will need to write simple code to import it. So I'm going to say that importing libraries, importing matplotlib. Okay, so let's go ahead and import. We need NumPy to create a random data set and we will need matplotlib. So I will first import matplotlib, import matplotlib dot pipe plot. So this is the line you need to write matplotlib dot pipe plot as plt. So this is the alias that we are giving so that we don't have to write this whole name. We can simply write plt to call this library whenever we want to kind of create different chart. Okay, so I would also need import numpy as np so that I can create a different random data set. And we would need one more line of code to use matplotlib inside this Jupyter notebook, and we want to create the chart after this code, like maybe here. Okay, so for that you need to write percentage matplotlib inline. Okay, so this is to show the chart, okay, in Jupyter notebook. Okay, let's go ahead and execute it. You can see it has imported successfully. Now let's go ahead and first create a random data set and we will create two line chart to see how this matplotlib works. Okay, so I am using simple numpy to create a random data set, which is a line space and data set. You can see creating 100 data points, which is from 0 to 10. So each data point is from 0 to 10. Okay, so this is going to create a 100 number starting from 0 and it basically up to 10, and 100 data points it is going to create. Simply np dot line space, you just need to write this code. It is going to create that 100 data points. Okay, now next we are saying y and np dot assign x. Okay, so this is going to create another data set. So let's go ahead and first run this query. Okay, now we have created np dot align space. So this positive and opposite, it is going to create this data set. Let's first see the x. So you can see here we have 100 data points because I have defined it 100 data points. So you can see starting from 0, then maybe 0.1, 0.5. So it's a random data set created by numpy. Okay, now what we are doing, we're using simply sign functions, which is going to create a data set using this x. Okay, so let me show you why now. Okay, so in y also you can see that it has created another data sets, but which is using this x. Okay, now let's go ahead and plot this two data set into a line plot. Okay, so for that I would just start with plt. So anything that you do, you would start with plt to use matplotlib pipe plot. You can see as soon as I enter plt, it kind of identified that I am entering this matplotlib.py plot. Okay, then you would say dot and you will see all the different functionality of this matplotlib. Okay, a lot of things are there. We will see one by one, like a lot of things which are the important. Okay, now we would just say plot. Now this is going to basically ask you few things. One is called arguments and then few of the other things. Let's first see what this plot does. Okay, if I just enter this question mark, you will see it is asking x and y. So x is a different series of numbers and y is a different series of numbers, and it is going to create a line chart. Okay, so simple, you can simply say that x and y. So this is going to be my x, which is this number series that you have seen earlier, and the y is going to be this number series. Okay, let's run it. Now you can see it has created a sine wave, which is, you can see it here, and you can see the data and distributions of these two data sets, which is this data points and this data points. Okay, now we're going to explore few of the functionality of this PLT to kind of organize this chart. Okay, so first let's go ahead and add a title. So I would just go to next line, and to add a title you can simply say PLT dot title. Okay, and this is the function that is going to basically allow you to add titles. You can see here, set one of the three available access titles. So we can set a titles here. Okay, now this title have only basic functionality. You just need to give this a string, okay, that you want to set what title. So let's click on this title, and as a string you need to pass in the title. So we can just say that trending lines. Okay, so you can see it has added this title. Okay, so you just need to say plt dot title, and you can give your title. Okay, if you want to change the font size, so you can say font size, and you can give it maybe something called 14. Okay, so you can see that it has increased the font size to 14. Earlier it was kind of 12. Now what do you want? We want to kind of add an axis name. So this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis, right? Let's add a name. So to add a y-axis, you can simply say plt dot y label. Okay, so y label is going to give you the functionality to add an axis. So you can say plt dot y label, which means matplotlib pyplot dot y label. So as a string you can pass, let's say I want to call it y axis. So you can see it has added axis called y axis. If you want the x axis, so you can use the same plt dot x label. Okay, now we can just name it called x axis. You can see at the moment we do not have it. As soon as we run it, you can see it's nice axis name. Now you can give any name based on your requirement. Okay, now you can see something else, which is this text. So we do not want to show this text, we only want to show this chart. Okay, so for that you can just write something called plt dot show. So add a parenthesis, and you can see it has removed that extra text. So you can see nice simple chart. Okay, now one more thing you can do here is that you can color this line that you see, this trending line, you can color it. So for that you can simply say color, and you can just give a color name as a string. So let's say we want to color it called red. You can see now it has color as a red. Okay, so this is what you can do using Matplotlib. Very basic functionality. Most of the time we are going to use this title label, x label, y label, and for line chart you just need to use dot plot. Okay, and you just need to give two data points, two axis data point, one is x and one is y. So this is a fine. Let's go ahead and see the next chart that we are going to create. So next chart we are going to create, I think that is this exercise, which is called create a cosine wave plot using np.cos, customize the line with a dash style. Okay, so this time we are going to use np.sin. Instead of sin we will be using np.cos. So for that you can simply say np.cos, and you can give this which is called this value, which is called this line space data points, which we have created earlier. Okay, so let me show you. To create another data points, we can go ahead and say y, maybe y2, and we just need to say np dot cos, and here I'm going to pass this x. Okay, let me just show you y2. So it has created another data distributions here, you can see. So that is based on the np dot cos. Okay, now we are going to plot this, and we are going to create something like same what we have done earlier. Okay, so for that let me just copy everything, and let's add into a next line, maybe here. Okay, so let's go and let me just delete this for now. Okay, so here I'm just going to say y2, and instead of this I would just say maybe blue. Okay, instead of sign I would say cos wave trending line. Okay, so you can see it has created cos wave trending line, which is starting from 1 and it goes like this and this, you can see. And this one it start from 0, so it goes this and this. It's a sine wave and this is a cos wave. Okay, now we can combine both of them together. So for that what you just need to do is that you just need to add this plot once again. So here I can just add this plot. Okay, okay, now you can see we have a two line together. One is this blue and one is this red. Okay, now we can add some legend. Okay, now we do not know which one is the cos and which one is the sine with a trending line. So for that we will add some label to this two of this line that you see. Okay, so first let's go ahead and kind of do it here. Okay, so first here I want to add a label for this one. This is creating the cos wave. So I would just go ahead and say label equals, as a string you can pass cos wave line. Okay, let's add one more. So this one was the first one, so this is going to be the label sine wave. Okay, now that is fine. If you run it, it has given that label, but you don't see it here, right? So for that you just need to enable something called plt.legend. Okay, now this is going to show you the legend. You can see this is the showing the legend, and you can see your chart. Okay, here one thing you can see, it is kind of overlapping, right? So we can deal with that as well. We can increase this size of this, basically this chart that you see. Okay, so for that, before starting the chart, we can just set the figure. So for that you would say plt dot figure. So figure is this function which you need to use, figure, and inside this parenthesis you can say fixed size. Okay, and you need to pass the value as a tuple. So first one is going to be the width, and then is going to be the height. Okay, so this is the height, this is the width. We want the width more and the height less. Okay, so for that I'm going to give it something maybe 10, maybe 8, and maybe 6. Okay, let me see 8 and 6. Okay, this looks better. Now you can see that it has kind of adjusted this automatically. Even I can decrease in this 6 to 5 maybe. So this looks perfect. Okay, so we have seen how to kind of give title, how to give a label, different label, and how to remove this additional text. Okay, now if you want to save this, for that you can simply go ahead and say before this plt show, because this is going to clear the memory. Before that you can say plt dot, and here you can just go ahead and say save fig. Okay, and inside this you just need to pass as a name. So let's go ahead and say basically call chart1. Okay, .png. Let's run it. You can see that chart1.png has saved. Okay, so this is how you can save the chart. Okay, so we can change this title now. Instead of having one title, we can have kind of cos and sine wave trending lines. Okay, alright, so this is how you can create simple plot line. Let's go ahead and see the second task. So the second task is going to be creating a bar chart. Okay, so we have two data points. One is called categories, which is A, B, C, D. So these are the three categories of an e-commerce company, and these are some values. These are some figures, the sales figures which you have collected. So 5, maybe 5 million, 7 million, 3 million, and 8 million. So different category and different sales figure. Okay, let's go ahead and see the task. Okay, so the task is that plot a horizontal bar chart using plt.bar h. Try changing the bar colors to green. Okay, first let's go ahead and create a simple bar chart, then we will see a horizontal bar chart. Okay, so for that you can simply say plt dot bar. Okay, so this bar is going to give you the options to create a bar chart. Now to create a bar chart you would need two data points. One is going to be the names, which is going to be of course the categories here for us, and then we would need the values for each of these categories, right? So you would need a two kind of directional data. One is going to be the category's name, or it is going to be whatever the names, basically the category, and the second one is going to be the values. Okay, so for us it's going to be the category is going to be our x-axis. So x-axis is going to be this, right? This is the x-axis. You would need different categories, and based on each of the categories you would add the y-axis, which is going to be the number. So you would be adding your different bars like this. Okay, so bar, then x-axis is going to be, which is called categories for us. Then we can give our next, which is going to be the height. You can see the height is going to be what? The values, right? So even if you run it, you can see it has already created the bar chart. Okay, so this is the bar chart, not formatted at the moment, but we can do the formatting. So first let's go ahead and do some more things here. Let's go ahead and change this width. Okay, that you see it's this width. We can reduce this width to maybe between 0.1, between 0 to 1. So let's reduce it to maybe kind of 6. Let's see. So this looks much better. And next what I need is going to be the different colors. So for each bar I want different colors. Okay, so for that I can just add a color variable here. Okay, and I can give 4 colors, 1 2 3 4. Okay, so 4 colors I can just define it before it. or I can put it here. Okay, so I would just go ahead and say colors equals, and let's keep some variable name called maybe blue, let's say red, let's say green, and let's say purple. Okay, we can use this color here. Okay, all right, so you can see different colors we have given. Now you can again give the same title and everything. So let's go ahead and add a title, plt dot title. So you would just go ahead and say sales bar chart. You can see it has added the title. If you want to increase the font, you can do that, but I'm going to skip it for now. Plt dot x level. So x level is going to be this level, that's the categories name. So I would say categories. You can see it has added the categories. Next, what I would need is that plt dot y level. That's going to be the sales in millions. Okay, let's add a sales icon, dollar icon, maybe something like this. Okay, so you can see sales in millions. So we have added nicely two things. So here I don't want to see this text, so for that I can just go and say plt dot show. Okay, this is going to remove this text. Now if you want to analyze your data set, you can include the grid lines as well. So for that we can just go ahead and say plt dot grid. Okay, so this is going to create a grid line. You can see it has created a grid line, but this is kind of too much. You can hide it as well. Okay, so you can go ahead and say that something called line styles equals maybe something like this. Okay, so we need to say line style. Okay, so you can see line style now has changed to this grid line. So if you want to say only for what you need only for this axis, which is called x-axis, so you can say axis equals x as a string. Okay, now if you run it, you can see only x-axis. We need y-axis, so let's change it to y-axis. Now for y-axis, you can see it has added some line, so now it is very easy to read. Okay, so this is how you can add grid lines if you need it. If you do not need it, so just comment it out. Okay, so this is fine. We have created a simple bar chart. You can see we have created a bar chart and we have added different things. Okay, now next what you need is the next task. Let's see the next task. So we need to create a horizontal bar chart. Okay, and then we would kind of analyze the same data. So to create a horizontal bar chart, we would just use everything here, and let's kind of add a code cell here. You just need to say bar h. Okay, that's it. Everything will remain same. So here I would just need to remove this width. Okay, so you can see it has created a horizontal bar chart. Now one thing I would add here is that this transparency. So if you see this kind of each of this bar are kind of the colors, we can just reduce this color transparency by saying something called alpha. Okay, so alpha lpha dot 0.7. You can see it has reduced the transparency. Okay, so it has the options between 0 and 1. So this is how you can reduce this transparency. Here I can go ahead and reduce it to maybe something called alpha 0.4. You will see the color that has reduced the colors. Okay, so this is the horizontal bar chart and this is the normal bar chart you can see. Okay, let's go ahead and see our next task, which is going to be histogram. Okay, creating a histogram. It says histogram help to visualize the distributions of data. Okay, now we have a random data. For this data we are going to create a histogram to visualize this distributions. Okay, let me show you the data. So I am creating this data using this random functions. Okay, so if you see this data that we have, which is kind of between 1 and -7, I guess -7 or minus, it's a random numbers. We would just go ahead and use this data, right? So let's go to next line and let's add a code cell here and let's go ahead and create a histogram. So for that plt dot hist you need to use to create a histogram. So hist will only accept one array like data, which is a sequence and data, and you would have something called bins. So in bins you can define different bin size. Okay, so let's go ahead and say hist and it is asking for x means the data, so for us it is the data. Okay, next we would define something called bins. Okay, not mandatory, but we can keep the bins maybe 5. Okay, so let me show you. You can see it has created a histogram, so bin is 5. Okay, here if you see different group it has created. Based on this you can see the data distribution, so you see most of the data are lying between -1 to 1. So we can change this bins to maybe 20, and we can see this data set. Now you can see a small number of bins, so 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 and 120. Okay, 20 looks great, and now we can change this color as well. So we can go ahead and say color maybe sky blue. Okay, and we can do a lot of other things as well. Okay, so a lot of other functions are here in this histogram. You can see a lot of things are here. You can kind of play with it, and you would be able to see a lot of different things are here. Okay, in this histogram. So same way you can add this label and legend each and everything, but yeah, this is how you can create histogram. Okay, so this is how you can analyze the data that you can see it here. You can again go ahead and add a lot of other things like the title and each and everything. So we can just go ahead and use this all these things from above to edit titles and each and everything. Let's just go ahead and remove this barrage. Let's give a title called data distribution. Okay, and name we can name call X label, and we can say Y label. All right, so this is how we have created nice kind of histogram. You can reduce this transparency of the colors. So for that you can say alpha equals 0.5. so we want 50% transparency, that you can see it here. If you want different colors we can say blue, so you can see the blue here. Okay, now I'm going to solve 5 exercise problem to analyze the data sets, and we will create a different charts. Okay, so let's see the first one. It is sales trend analysis, and it says analyze monthly sales data to identify the trends. Okay, add title, axis label, markers and show legends. Okay, so let's go ahead and analyze the data. You see we have a month name, different month, and the sales that we have done in each of this month. Okay, let's go ahead and run it. So the task is very simple. We need to add a title, X label, markers and show legends. So we'll be creating a line chart to analyze this data. So we have first, which is called month. That's our x-axis. So we will say month. Then we have sales, which is our y-axis. Okay, if you run it, it has already created this line chart that you can see it here. Okay, now what we want is that we would want to kind of define a size. So it's a poll dot, we want it on the custom figure, so we would say fixed size. Okay, let's give it called 10 and 5. Okay, so to view the data you can see it has created a nice chart. Okay, next what I need is that I need this line chart to maybe some other colors. Okay, something maybe like green. Okay, so we would say color equals green. Okay, so this is fine. Next what do you need? Let's see, we need a marker. So marker is basically, here we need a marker, here we need a marker, something like dot like this. Okay, so for that you can just go ahead and say marker equals, and 0 o you can give as a string. Okay, so you can see it has created different markers. So this is the marker, you can see it has created. Okay, next what we need is that we want to add axis. So we can go ahead and add axis, maybe a title, plt dot title, and we can say that call sales trends, monthly sales trend. Okay, monthly sales trend. So you can see it has added monthly sales trend title, and you can add the label like X label and Y label, plt dot X label, and here you can give the X label is call month. You can say plt dot Y label, and you can give which is called maybe sales in dollars, so maybe something like this. Okay, so you can see each month and the sales nice title. We do not want to see this text, so you can just go into plt dot show to remove this extra text. Okay, so here we have created this line chart based on this data, and you can see that this month we have done the highest sale, right? So that's which is in this month, which is going to be May. In May we have done highest sale, and if you see the lowest sale, that is in July, so that's going to be here. In July we have done, I mean the first month was the lowest sale, which is 45, but I think in July we have done again the sale got really less, which is 4600. Okay, so using this line chart, you can analyze the data very quickly and within just few seconds. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how we can give show the legend. So this chart I want to give something and name. So for that I'm just going to say call label in name. So we would say call trend lines. Okay, and you would just need to add a one line which is called plt dot legend. So you can see it has added the legends, that is here trend lines. Okay, and you can see this trend lines is with the markers and the colors. Okay, so this was the task one of this exercise. Let's see the exercise 2 and we will see the next task. Okay, now let's see the exercise 2, which is going to be category wise sales comparison. So it says compare product category performance using a bar chart. Create a bar chart comparing category sales. Okay, so we have different categories and their sales. We would just need to create a bar chart. So we'll go ahead and say plt dot, and we can just go ahead and say bar. Let's create a normal bar chart and let's first run this. We need the category, so that's going to be our the first category, and then we would say sales. You can say different category and their kind of the bar. Now we have already created a bar chart, so we can reuse that code. Okay, so let's go ahead and reuse that code, which is going to be this one. Okay, so let's go and reuse that code that we have created already. Alright, so here you can see I'm going to just reuse this code that we have already created. Now we have electronics, furnitures, clothing, and books. So books seems to have the highest sale, that you can see it here, which is falls between 7 and 8 millions. Okay, so this is a fine sales bar chart, and we can give a call. Yeah, I think this is kind of fine. Let's go ahead and see our next one, which is called customer age distributions. Now here we would now need to visualize the distributions of the ages, different ages and data as a histogram. So we have already created the histogram, so we can just reuse it. This is kind of generating the ages. If you want to see the data points, so you can see it has created different int numbers, that is between 18 and 65 up to 500 data points. So it has created 500 data points, simple numpy random functions. You can see rand it. Now we have already covered this, how to use randint to create different random data points, and it create random int numbers. Okay, so we have 500 ages and we would see the distributions. Okay, so I would just go ahead and say that we have already created a histogram, so I'm just going to use the same one, but I would just replace that with the age. Okay, so let's go ahead and kind of reuse this histogram. So here I'm just going to say, instead of data I would replace it with age, and I think the bins ages, and I think the bins I'm going to keep it maybe, let's see, we have age from 18 to 65, so bins I'm going to keep it called 10. Okay, color I'm going to keep it called maybe something called red. Transparency I'm going to keep it called maybe 8. Okay, so I would just change the name to call age distributions. Okay, so here you can see the data distributions of this age that you can see. So most of the age are that we have here, which is falling into this 0, which is kind of between 15 to I guess maybe 28 or something. So in here this first group. Now let's go ahead and see our next task, which is going to be creating a pie chart. So we have a regional sales performance, and we have different regions and their sales. Okay, so we are going to create a pie chart. Okay, so let's first run it and let's go ahead and see In the pie chart, each region is going to be each of the slice and their sales, right? So based on this, we can create a pie chart. Okay, so for that we can say plt dot pie, and in pie chart you just need to have x, which is going to be the values here, and there would be something called labels where you would be giving the region names. Okay, so these two are things are important, and one more thing which is called auto pct, if in case you want kind of the values, okay, in slice. We will see that. Okay, let's click pie, let's click question mark, and you can see the things that you need. We have something called explode, which is going to be helpful if you want to explode specific slice. Okay, we will see that. Now to create a pie chart, you simply need to define this x, which is going to be the values that the numbers values, which is going to be sales in our case. So you would say sales, and labels we want, which is going to be the region, the names here. Okay, let's kind of run it. You can see it has already created the pie chart. We would just now need the values into each of this slice. Okay, add this auto cpt, which is called auto pct, and here as a string you can pass simple this functions, which is called percentage and then 1.1, because we need to in one decimal. If you need two decimals, you can just write 1.2, and then you just need to write f and to this percentage sign. Okay, you can see it has added this percentage and this values into each of these slides. Okay, which is from our data points which we have given. Okay, so it has converted into a percentage, and based on each region and their contribution, you can see each of these slides. Okay, so this is fine. Now you can add different colors based on your requirement. You can add different colors. So for that you can create a color variable before it. So you can go ahead and say color, and in the colors I can create 4 colors in a tuple. So maybe something called, I need maybe something called red, something called blue, something called orange, something called maybe purple. Instead of orange I'm going to change it called green. Okay, here I would just add a color. Okay, we just need to say colors, and you can see now we have the colors. Right, so now you can see we have each of this slice with these colors. So you can change the colors. Maybe the blue doesn't look that great, so we can change it to maybe sky blue. Okay, so this looks perfect. Now what we want is that we want to add one slice out of this. Okay, so out of this kind of this a pie chart, so that is also possible. For that we would just need to go ahead and first of all let me just do formatting called plt dot show. That's going to remove this extra text that we have. Now let's go ahead and exploit one of this slice, the slice that has the highest maximum sale. So for that I would just go ahead and do it here. Okay, I would just say exploit, and let's add a tuple here, and we would say the first one I want to exploit, which is going to be this one. So 10% by 10%, 0.10, 0.1, which is that means 10%, then I would 0, 0 and 0. So I only want to exploit the first one. Okay, so here you just need to add something called exploit, and you can just add this variable which is called exploit. So it's going to exploit the first one. Okay, so it consider this one as a first one. Now if you want this one to be considered as a first one, that is also possible. So for that we just need to say this one. Okay, 0.1, let's change it to 0. Okay, so this is how you can exploit one. You can also add a shadow here, shadow true. Okay, this is going to look this much better. You can see here it is kind of looking great, right? So we have created simple pie chart. Now you can go ahead and add titles and each and everything, so which I have already covered, how to add titles and how to add axis. Okay, each and everything you can add. Okay, this is how you can create a pie chart. You just need to remember this auto pct. So this is going to helpful if you want to add this value here. Okay, into each of this slice. Okay, which is this, these are the labels, right? So for this specific slice, this is the values. Okay, so if you need a 2 decimals, you can just say 1.2. It is going to consider as a 2 decimals. Okay, now let's go ahead and see our next task, which is going to be our last task, which is called exercise 5, and it is sales forecasting and visualizations using shaded area plot. Now the objective says that visualize historical sales along with the forecasted values using the area plot, And the tasks are simple. We need to create an area plot for the actual and the forecasted sales. Okay, so let's go ahead and use it. We'll be using a hatching patterns here for the forecasted area. Okay, this is the data that you can see here. We have this month name and this actual sales and the forecasted sale. So let's go ahead and first create a area chart. We will say plot dot fill between. So this fill between you can use to create an area chart. X-axis is going to be month, and then we were going to say that sales, and if you run it you can see it has kind of created an area chart. Okay, now we would just label it call actual sales. Okay, this is fine. We can use this colors here, maybe something called color equal sky blue. Okay, and we can add alpha 0.5 transparency. Okay, so this is the actual sales, and we can maybe set it to maybe greens. Okay, that's fine. Next we would need the same, but this time instead of using sales we would be using this forecasted values, and we will call it forecasting sales. Okay, and we're going to add something called hatch equals this. Okay, so you can see this is kind of creating additional this hatching between actual and this the real one, the actual and the real sale. Next what do you need to do, just a little bit of formatting. In fact, let's change the colors. Okay, now let's kind of go ahead and change it to maybe sky blue, and I will say light green. Okay, now let's go ahead and show the title. So for that we can just go and say plt dot legend. Let's show the legend first. You can see the legend. Let's go ahead and show add a title. So we'll say plt dot title, and we can give a name called sales actual vs forecasted forecasted sales, right, in maybe dollars. Okay, we can add a legends for the y-axis, which is the sales in millions, maybe something like this, plt dot y label. So you can say in millions, $1,000,000. Okay, and we can add x label, that's going to be x label, and we can call it month. Okay, so month name. Now this one which is called actual sales, which you see this is the one that is actual sales, and this the outer one is showing this forecasting sale. So what I can do, we can keep this forecasting first, or we can just give this actual maybe the second. Okay, so let's kind of run it. Perfect. So here you can see this is the forecasting one, the outside one, and this inner one is the actual one. Okay, and we can just do some more formatting. Again, this looks kind of perfect for me. If you want to resize this kind of chart, you can do that using something called plt.figure. So plt.figure, and you can say fix size 10 and maybe 6. Okay, so here we have reformatted this. You can see now this looks much better. You can add some grid lines if you want. So we can add some grid lines. So it's a plt dot grid. Let's say for y-axis we would want to add a grid line. This is the y-axis, so we would just have some grid lines like this. So we would say axis equals y as a string, and we will say line style is going to be something like this. Okay, So it has added some grid lines. If you want to reduce this transparency, you can say alpha equals 0.4. Okay. Alright, so this is how we have created this, and if you want to move this from center to maybe somewhere here, so you can do that. For that you can just go and say lock equals maybe upper right. Okay, it's going to be upper right, or maybe here we can just put it, but I think this kind of looks great for me. Okay, so this is what we have created. We do not want to show this text, so it's a plt dot show to remove this text. Okay, so you can see actual base forecasted sales. This outer one is the forecasted sales, and this is the actual sales. Okay, now you can refer to the official documentations, and there are a lot of other beginners friendly tasks are there which you can complete. So this is the official documentations page, matplotlib.org, and you can go through this and create different chart to analyze it. Last, I'm just going to show you one more chart, which is going to be this last one, and this one you can just go through by yourself. Here I have just created a sales BS advertisement spend and their correlation using Matplotlib. You can go through this code and you will be able to understand that I have used basic scatter plot and basic plotting to create this nice appealing chart. Okay, thank you so much for watching the video till here. If you have learned something new, do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye.